Attention class. Today we will be learning about the algorithm. Open your phones. Who can tell me what the algorithm is? Yes, Samantha?
The algorithm teaches us what to think.
Yes, that's correct. But not just what to think. Also, what to feel, who to believe, how to look, what to purchase, and when to comply. Any questions?
I'm ready to do the show, man. You be playing, man. I'll be ready. There's a lot of stuff going on. We gotta get to it, okay?
Welcome to the show, everyone. We want to thank everyone for tuning in to another episode of the Twisted Younginz Show. Warm welcome to all of you for joining us today. We thank you all for the support. Thank you for sharing, commenting. And if you all are feeling generous, you all can leave a big or a small donation. The Cash App will be located at the bottom of the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, so as I stated, we thank you all for joining us, and we have a lot to cover during this show. We're going to cover, man, if you haven't heard, the global elites are planning a fake alien and UFO invasion. Also,
they just released some footage that they say was of a UFO.
Yeah. So they're releasing footage. They also had like a pastoral meeting, and one congressman was also on the phone, and they were telling the church, hey, get prepared. Like, there is some stuff to come. Like, you just never know. Also, streamers are promoting and playing the Ouija board online, streaming it, lighting candles. Also, the singer David, he is currently on trial for murdering and dismembering his 14-year-old girlfriend and then making a song about it. We also have a pastor who was married to his wife of 17 years, stepped out and had an affair for 13 years with another woman that was an alleged pastor. I just don't know, but it is a lot going on. And we still have our latest biometric update. The humanoid robots are starting to take over. The economy is not looking like it is doing too good. And also, the Church of 2819 has signed a record deal with Lecrae. Now, Lecrae is an alleged Christian, but he is also, I don't know if he denounced or renounced his fraternity that he was a part of. He was a part of a fraternity, and I believe he was or is a Mason. But yeah, so what you got over there, Dez? You ready to get the show started?
We got Israel set to host a Pride parade.
Oh yeah, he says it's going to be the biggest Pride Fest parade, and it's going to be like 4 days, I believe.
Atlanta, Cop City makes a black neighborhood a testing lab for AI policing. Mm-hmm. We got a bill banning white-only housing only passes by one vote. Mm-hmm. So they want some white-only neighborhoods. Residential housing, water being traded on the stock market. So they're actually trading water now on the stock market. And we're going to cover all of these things in this video. We ask that you guys continue to, try to follow the law to the best of your ability. Continue to get in that Bible and realize that we're living in the last days, and the writings is on the wall. So it's time to not still be battling sin, but holding on to righteousness and actually trying to give the gospel to people. Because hopefully you've been in His Word and you know how to reach people that are in different ways. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
That's right.
I'm thankful that we have the ability to come together, do another show.
That's right.
To talk about how good God has been for us, and just be walking testimonies, walking epistles, and just man. So I'm appreciative. But do we care about it celebrating our mother? You know, our mother has been.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with celebrating Mother's Day, just like there's nothing wrong with celebrating your birthday. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm pretty sure there's some pagan stuff behind it. I mean, I know my sister usually do research on it, but I'm pretty sure it is. But the thing is, we're going in it blindly. We're just celebrating our mother. She's been so good to us. So, yeah, we're giving her honor, got her flowers and candy. My sister hit her with some jewelry and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So you guys got to appreciate the ones that God has put in your life. You know, everybody's not perfect. No, your mother may be on some drugs, but at least you got to thank the vessel that you were brought in, because the Lord chose that vessel to bring you here. So, you know, you shouldn't have no bad or poor relationship with your mother or father. I have to tell women this all the time, men is all the time. At the end of the day, at least you can still be cordial with them.
Right.
Say, I just call you to see how you doing, to see if you still healthy. If you need anything.
That's right.
I don't want to. I'm not get into conversation of debating or disrespecting. No, we're not going to get to that point, because I understand you a little bit off your rocker, and I'm going to give you your grace and your space. But I'm still going to call and check up on you, and I'm still going to be there for you if you ever need.
The Bible says to honor your father and to honor your mother. That's part of the commandment, ladies and gentlemen. And also, you don't necessarily have to wait into a day to celebrate your mother. You could do that every day, or choose a day that you want to do that, ladies and gentlemen, because time, you never know when our last time could be. You know, this could be my last day on the earth. It could be anybody's last day on the earth. So you cherish your loved ones while you can.
Good morning, citizens. Your overnight account balances have been updated. Time to start a productive day. Final notice, your account balance is below 500. You need 50 credits by the end of the day to avoid automatic eviction. If you have missed work due to illness, you must provide a doctor's note to reclaim your credits.
Any extra credits? Please.
Tensions are high today, with more people planning to join the Citizens Against Digital Control protest. Remember, the government knows who you are at all times. Resisting is not worth the consequences. All of their newest social credit systems are designed to keep you and your families safe and efficient.
Authorities seized a record balance of an individual's credits, citing excessive hoarding.
Traffic violation detected. 7 miles per hour over the limit. 75 credits have been automatically deducted.
You have to be fucking kidding me.
Yep, you got the flu. Your blood work shows a significant iron deficiency. I recommend incorporating more red meat into your diet.
Dr. Jones, your taxes were not filed and have been automatically deducted with late fees. Your medical license has been revoked.
Oh, hell nah, I filed an extension.
Purchase denied. Monthly red meat allowance exceeded. Try mealworms instead.
Can you guys please let me through?
Attention. Unauthorized political gathering detected. Participants' access to financial services has been suspended.
The creator of ChatGPT just asked for immunity if they kill 100 or more people. You heard that right. They're worried they might kill 100 people and wrote a bill in Illinois to absolve them if they do. It's called Illinois Senate Bill 3444. The bill defines a critical harm as a death or serious injury of 100 people caused by an AI model, or $1 billion in property damage. And it says the AI company cannot be held liable for that harm, as long as they posted a safety protocol on their website first and aren't deemed reckless in following it. That's the bar. Publish a document, don't intentionally cause harm, and get a free pass for killing.
In you go, boys.
Homeless population, a lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice.
We got everything. Warm beds, square meals, homeless women.
Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them. Just kill them.
I got a bad feeling about this, Blue.
Get in there.
I'm going to sit down here with Jake, who's got his dog Bubba. Jake, who is homeless. Jake, you've found yourself some shelter here. Why are you outside during this entire hurricane?
Well, I chose not to go inside yesterday because the Salvation Army and Russian Wind's homeless shelter, where they were accepting people, were caught killing everybody that was in there.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Okay. All right. So clearly you're homeless, and there are some challenges that you face.
The Disney cruise ship child trafficking ring is so much deeper than you think. If you haven't heard, a Disney cruise ship was raided in a massive child exploitation sting, and 10 Disney employees were arrested. But it is so much deeper than that. Let's start in 2022. Disney employees and former judge among 108 arrested in human trafficking sting. That must be a coincidence though, right? 2021, parents sue Disney Cruise Line for $20 million over alleged essay of 3-year-old daughter. 2019, Disney cruise worker charged with 13-year-old girl. 2014, Disney Cruise Line fails to promptly report essay of 11-year-old girl. This has happened so many times that when the news reports arrests, they just say another Disney Cruise Line worker arrested. But there's no way that the same company with ties to Epstein could possibly be running some kind of child trafficking ring, right? That has to just be a crazy coincidence.
Here's your reminder that the internet is not wireless. It's just a bunch of cables. Right now, there is over 900,000 miles of physical cables the thickness of a garden hose sitting on the ocean floor. They carry 99% of all data that travels between continents and roughly $22 trillion of financial transactions every single day. The Maria cable, owned by Microsoft and Meta, connects Virginia to Spain and carries 224 terabits per second. For reference, GTA 6 is about 200 gigabytes. You could download the entire game in 7 milliseconds, and in 1 second, you can download GTA 6 140 times. That's roughly 16 million times faster than your typical home internet. And these cables break all the time, especially by ship anchors. In 2002, one cargo ship accidentally dragged its anchor and cut 3 of the 4 cables that connect US and Europe and took out the transatlantic internet. And 2 weeks ago, China tested a deep sea device that could intentionally cut these cables at depths of over 11,000 feet, which is deeper than any known system. We're so used to wireless tech that it's easy to forget it's all just a bunch of cables.
We have major news right now that will fundamentally change media as we know it. Warner Brothers shareholders have approved a massive $81 billion merger with Paramount. That means companies like CNN may soon fall under the control of the Ellisons. The Ellisons already own CBS and installed Barry Weiss at CBS, are very close to the White House. Paramount literally is inviting Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, who's trying to tear down media companies as we know it, to try to take away their licenses. They invited him to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Paramount just merged with Warner Brothers, potentially. Now, it's not over yet. The shareholders approved the deal, but states' attorneys general across the country are suing to block the deal. We'll see if it actually works.
I was exposed to pornography when I was probably like 10, and that was like a stronghold in my life. When I say addicted, an addiction is anything that interrupts your life. Like, I would sit in my room just binge watching porn for hours, like 5 hours, days on end. It was a literal addiction. It was a literal interruption to my life. And I remember it was Pastor Terrence. He had preached a sermon and he said, when you do the thing that makes you hate yourself, say, I am the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. And I remember the last time I did like a 5-hour binge, I was like, I am the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. And I was like crying and saying it over and over again. And that was the last time I ever watched pornography. I ever read the erotic novels, like all of that, and did that day.
I think this is a very dark day for Christian freedom. We held a short, brief, open-air Sunday service near Coleraine Hospital. We made no reference whatsoever to abortion, and yet the buffer zone law is so broad that holding a Sunday service has been found to be a criminal offence. At 78 years, I find myself for the first time convicted of a crime. I know it was an unusual place to hold an open-air service, but that was the point. There shouldn't be any public spaces in Northern Ireland where you can be prosecuted and convicted simply for preaching the gospel. If someone is out there causing trouble, stirring up violence, harassing or verbally attacking people, then absolutely go ahead and prosecute them. But I wasn't doing any of those things, as the police video shows, and everyone involved in this case accepts. Preaching John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but should have everlasting life.
If you guys think they're building data centers in every single state that they can, just so that we can make funny AI slot videos of things, you got another thing coming. It's a systematic effort to create a mass surveillance state.
Today, people around the entire globe are taking to the streets to protest for May Day. And the message is being made clear by organizers. No school, no work, no shopping. This is a coordinated economic blackout with a central message. It's workers over billionaires. May Day, otherwise known as International Workers' Day, originates all the way back to 1886, and for many countries, it's a public holiday. But this year, particularly in the US, it's quickly becoming one of the largest coordinated May Day actions in recent US history, more than doubling last year. And it's not just US protesters demanding things like the end to the war. It's people who have been affected by it in countries around the world. The Philippines, for example, have showed their anger by creating effigies of their president alongside Trump and Netanyahu, and then burning them in the streets. Protests for May Day have been organized in almost every region, from Europe to South America to Asia and more. And at a time where fears of a global recession are increasing and income inequality continues to grow, expect this year's May Day to be.
Apparently, former head over at OpenAI has come out and said that they have built two, working on a third location where they're actually opening up portals and summoning, he used the word summoning, aliens through portals with AI, OpenAI. That is something that he said that OpenAI themselves are doing, not somebody with using AI. He's saying OpenAI, the company themselves, have, I think one was in the US, I forget where the other one was, but in the Middle East, they're building a third one.
A 40,000-acre data center was approved to be built in the middle of Box Elder County in Utah. Today, despite a room full of people showing up to voice their opposition, all of those people were unable to make public comment because the commissioners of Box Elder County walked out on the meeting and refused to acknowledge their presence there. Massive amounts of people are opposing this project. You know why? Because nobody wants it. Nobody wants these data centers.
Now this guy, who was at Cal Poly Tech, right? This guy, Jack Parsons, was openly a devil worshiper. He developed the fuel that enabled us to penetrate the stratosphere. Satellites could not have come about without this guy. In his diary that he himself wrote, he had a dream. This is 1948. He had a dream where he saw somebody that he calls Belial Dajjal. And he tells him, you are helping me. Wallahi, I'm not making this up. You go look it up yourself. Okay, so where's all this stuff coming from? Seriously, where's it all coming from? We're in the age of the Dajjal, you know. It's just Allahu Alam, when and where and what, but this is it, people. As far as I'm concerned, it's end game. Water and prayer and Qibla, can't take that away from us. So we need to prepare as much as we can. You know, but the technology, if you study where all this technology comes from, read about the magic and the Enlightenment period. All these scientists were magicians. They were all into black magic. You read about Francis Bacon. I just read a biography of Francis Bacon called Knowledge is Power, Magic and the Creation of Modern Science. Francis Bacon was reading all these magical books. Arthur C. Clarke. Arthur C. Clarke, great technologist. He actually has most of the patents that enabled the satellites, right? If you look at his interview with BBC in 1961, where he predicts the internet, he predicts the cell phones, he predicts texting. He said that by the year 2000, people are going to have handheld devices that enable them to talk to anybody anywhere, right? Arthur C. Clarke said, and he has 3 laws of technology. One of his laws is no technology reaches a level of complexity, except it becomes indistinguishable from magic.
They built cities using a language you were never taught to read. Cathedrals, monuments, even dollar bills. Everything is written in sacred geometry. This isn't aesthetics. It's frequency engineering. The ancient masters and hidden orders understood. Form shapes energy. The golden ratio is the barcode of creation. The system uses this geometry to capture your attention and channel your energy into their egregores. They want you living inside gray concrete boxes, disconnected from the divine proportions of nature.
2026 Met Gala is demonic, but it's no surprise because every single year, these celebrities show you exactly what they are about and what they represent. Because remember, this is supposed to be fashion for these people. But does this look fashionable to you? Does this look like something that you would wear out in the public? I mean,
they told you David Wilcock was crazy for saying most aliens are demons masquerading as extraterrestrials, and that governments use black project drones to fake UFO sightings and hide the real deception. He was one of the loudest voices exposing it. Then on April 20th, 2026, David Wilcock was found dead in Colorado. Officials ruled it suicide within hours. The same government that spent a decade hunting Osama bin Laden tracked him to a fortified compound in Pakistan, executed a precision raid on foreign soil without detection, and confirmed his identity through DNA analysis, suddenly can't properly investigate the suspicious death of a man who spent 25 years exposing their secrets. Same system, same selective blindness, same protection for the powerful. This is not incompetence. This is deliberate.
When the next crisis hits, the elites are planning to freeze the financial system, and they'll replace it with a new system, one not based on the US dollar. When that happens, we'll wake up to a very strange and disturbing new reality.
And for our viewers that are watching today, what might their reality look like that morning? How does this manifest?
First, they'll have gone to bed knowing that a massive financial crisis was underway. But when they wake up, they'll find it has worsened and the contagion has spread worldwide. When they go to withdraw money, their ATM will say, closed temporarily. When they go to sell stocks, their account will say, transaction not available. When they go to their local business, that business will only accept cash if it's open. As citizens realize they're being barred from their money, riots will erupt. They've rigged the financial laws, changed the rules of the game to allow this to happen. The stage is set. They have the levers in place. The lights are positioned. Now someone just needs to flick a switch.
Okay, it's conspiracy time. And yes, it's about the cruise ship that's currently holding passengers that also has the hantavirus. Let's back up to a few weeks ago. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy appears.
Sail with me across the Atlantic Ocean. Hi, I'm Jake, and I'm spending the next 35 days crossing the Atlantic visiting some of the most remote islands in the world.
That's Jake, and he's a travel content creator. Never had seen him before in my entire life, but the algorithm does what it does, and it just starts feeding you new videos that you might have not seen before. He's cute, he's engaging, whatever. Flash forward to about a week ago, I get the video that I just showed you, which was Jake's intro video to the boat that he's currently on, which happens to be the one with the hantavirus. 3 weeks ago, I started seeing him on my page. Then I see that video a few times, and I don't think anything of it, until there's a lone passenger from this cruise ship reporting about this virus that's on the ship. And guess who it is? Yeah, it's Jake. So you're telling me a few weeks ago, his videos just randomly started popping up on my page, and he just happens to be on this ship that happens to have this virus, and he just happens to be the only person on the ship reporting the news from the ship? Like, what was the algorithm grooming me for 3 to 4 weeks ago?
I'm envious of the Jewish people. I'm envious of how they don't abort their children. I'm envious of how they don't shoot each other in the streets and then rap about it. I'm envious of how their families stay together. I'm envious that they turn their phones off on Friday night and the family comes together. I'm envious of how they do the business together. And I want that for the darker Jews. I want that for the black people.
Guys, another country has placed AI in their government. The UAE have just announced that over the next 2 years, they plan to convert 50% of their government services into what they called agentic AI. That basically means AI systems that don't just assist humans, but can actually make decisions and carry out tasks on their own. Habibi, you sure? In fact, according to the country's own prime minister, he said the goal is to introduce autonomous execution and decision-making with minimal human oversight, even describing it as sort of an executive partner to the government. But this doesn't mean that AI is going to start writing laws by itself. Humans still got to do that with prompts. But what do you guys think? Is this less scary than it sounds?
Guys, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, OpenAI, SpaceX, and Nvidia just all signed deals with the Pentagon. And the US military just officially declared themselves an AI-first fighting force. The defense secretary called it a wartime footing and said that every single branch needs to be AI-first from this point forward.
The United States wants to fuse its AI dominance with its military might. Its biggest tech companies are caving into defense contracts worth tens of billions of dollars.
And then the highest ranking military officer in the entire country just said that AI weapons that fight without a human controlling them are going to be, direct quote, a key and essential part of everything we do. Okay.
They're scanning our faces in public places, at protests, even at our children's schools. The government is building secret databases they can go through anytime that they feel like it. They're blanketing our neighborhoods with flock cameras, and every single one of you should be saying, "What the flock?" I mean, this is an absolute egregious reach on our Fourth Amendment rights. They're creating a digital footprint of your entire life without a single warrant or even probable cause. Your morning commute to work, it's tracked. Dropping off your kids at their soccer practice, that's logged. Visiting a church or a gun range, recorded forever in a government accessible database.
The music industry is demonic. Sports has become demonic. There's a lot of demon activity in the music industry. And when our young girls and young men see these thuggish guys tatted up, earrings, nose rings, and everything else, there's a luster about it. So they start buying the same jeans they wear or wearing the same t-shirt. And they want to get tatted up too. And when our young girls see these filthy female entertainers, almost naked, covered in tattoos, foul language, foul music lyrics. Sometimes at the light, you know, you hear the booming of thumping of something and you hear something going on. I've been known to let the window go down a little bit to see if I could hear what they were saying. You better run it back up.
Where are all the sermons on hell? Is getting your best life now really what's important? Understand this. Worrying about whether or not you have self-esteem. I will not lose sleep worried about whether or not you feel like you have purpose in your life. I will not lose sleep. I will not be interceding tonight because your checkbook doesn't balance. It'll be because you're going to hell. That's why we preach. Preaching at a very posh church. One of them said, "You preach like a madman." And I said, "Then sit there and listen to a madman rage." Because I'm talking about maddening things. Paul himself said, "If I'm out of my mind, it is for God." This is not about getting some course on how to just be better at life. This is the fact that every man, woman, and child is born en route to hell. And the only thing that can save them is a recognition of their evil nature and their sin, and to lose all hope in every bit of human merit and virtue and throw themselves on the mercy of God in Jesus Christ.
All right, let's jump into the show. We had been meaning to cover this, but we had, for some reason, skipped right over it. But the church 2819 that Pastor Phillip Mitchell is the head over has signed a record deal with Lecrae. Lecrae has, what's the name of his record company? Is it called Reach Records, I believe? Reach Records. They have signed his worship team has signed a deal with Reach Records. Now, there has been mixed reviews about this. Some say, no, how could you partner with, darkness? How could you partner with an individual who is lukewarm, who is all the way not in the word? Then you have another group of individuals, they saying, hey, actually, let me read the comment. It says, why veer towards the negative? Why highlight negatives that might not exist? Why not look at this partnership as 2819 being the light that will touch Lecrae and his team influencing in the direction of Jesus Christ? Now, Des, I want to know your opinion. You are an artist. Are you willing to sign a record deal or partner up with a record label or have a sponsorship of someone who is not walking in the light of God or who is not a follower of Jesus?
I wouldn't know. Yeah, I think so. I think because I know who I am. I know I'm a Christian. I'm going to promote Jesus, right? And
that's right.
Following him wholeheartedly now. So I'm not going to say that I wouldn't, but I would most definitely have to, get the Lord a blessing on that. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm not, so I'm not going to say I wouldn't. But at the end of the day, they sing songs to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, Phillip Anthony Mitchell is, a ideal person, a man of God. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't know who the true Israelites are. So, and he goes over there to Israel and says that, that those people are the people of God. When we know, the Bible says in the last days knowledge shall be increased. We know that those are not the people. It don't take that much research. The Bible really identifies who those people are. So he's just lying, and we know all lies shall have their part in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone. So I don't think he's a man of God either. But it is what it is. At least Jesus is going to be promoted through song.
That's right. And we can only pray and hope that they would, stay true to themselves, stay true to the word, and pray for those brothers and sisters. A 4-day Pride Festival is set to be held at Dead Sea, the largest in history of Middle East. Now, the producer of this event says Pride Land is not just another festival. It's the biggest thing we have done here. Now, Israel is set to host the Middle East's largest ever LGBT festival at the Dead Sea in June of 2026. The new festival, Pride Land, intends to transform the middle of the Judean desert into a colorful pride city from June 1st to June 4th.
What the Bible says that all homosexuals will not inherit the kingdom of God. So you know that this is not of God what they're doing, and they plan on being Israel names being governed by God. So you would think that most of the things or everything they do will be approved by the Lord in the scriptures. Well, we know that not to be true. All of them over there, the Khazarians, that's what they truly are. They have a book called, I think we brung it up on the last show, the Talmud, where they say, Jesus is boiling in excrement. So they don't care what the word of the Lord, which is he is the word. Bible says that there are three that bear record in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost, and those three are one. So they don't care what the words say, because they wouldn't be transforming no desert into a homosexual shindig that I'm pretty sure some orgies is going to go down and a whole lot of abomination is going to be seen, So that's crazy. Not in the Holy Land. That's crazy.
Now, I also want to touch on a couple gods and goddesses, little g gods and goddesses that are associated with queer and gender fluidity. So you have Chir Shin, the rabbit god. He's a Chinese demon who specifically manages homosexual affection. You have other prominent figures such as Dionysus, Greek, often recognized as the god of queer, trans, and gender non-conforming people. He represents the breaking of gender binarities and societal norms. You have Exochipe and Exochiquetzal, Aztec, which they are the deity of pleasure and artistic expression who became a patron of gay men, while his counterpart, Exquisizal, is associated with queer women. You have Apollo and Aphrodite, or Greek, the Apollo is often seen as a patron of male love due to his many male lovers, while Aphrodite is associated with lesbian love and same-sex attraction. You have Ishtar or Inanna, Mesopotamian, a goddess often associated with non-binary, transgender, and gender-fluid identities. You have Santa Marte. In modern context, she is seen as a protector of the marginalized and the LGBTQ plus community. So guys, a lot of times when you see a lot of big festivals that's been going on for centuries, and they get bigger and bigger and they're making laws for them, and you've noticing they all are starting to have the same look. It's a lot of the times a deity or a demon is associated to that party, that group of individuals, to that movement. It's a spirit attached to it, ladies and gentlemen. So, and Israel is supposed to be the Holy Land. So, why would this be going on in the Holy Land? But guys, they were doing this in biblical times. Yeah. They did this. Greek, Rome, Egyptian, Mesopotamia. Khazarians. They did all of this, and it's just rotating. It's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. Bible says that those who say they are Jews but are not, but of the synagogue of Satan. You would think that these things will go down in the house of Satan.
Scientists created AI chip that works like human brain. Now, British physicists have developed a new type of computer chip that could make AI systems thousands of times more energy efficient. The device processes data directly in hardware according to engineering topics. Now, a team at Marburg University created devices with a special structure, microscopic pores in metal. The design mimics the human brain, where signals are transmitted instantly through millions of neural connections. Thanks to structure, the chip can perform complex tasks without standard software. For example, making prediction, forecasting chaotic events based on previous data, restoring information. It can independently complete missing data fragments. Pattern recognition. It instantly identifies numbers and images at the hardware level. It says during tests, the system successfully handled butterfly effect forecasting, a mathematical model in which the smallest initial error can lead to unpredictable results. So they are constantly associating AI with human brain, with human activity, with human way of life. If you all haven't noticed, these humanoid robots are starting to pop up. Later on, I'm going to read an article where Japan is testing out a set of humanoid robotic team to run their airport to help with the bag lifting, the baggage claims, and all of that. Humanoids are already at some of the borders, checking passports, letting people through. So they are going to be a part of our life. Robots are already inside of stores, ladies and gentlemen. So,
what I'm going to say, Atlanta Cop City makes a black neighborhood, Atlanta's Cop City makes a black neighborhood a testing lab for AI policing. So they're putting up cameras all through DeKalb County, and it looks like they're going to, trying to regentrify, because it was a guy that purchased a house, I want to say, in DeKalb County, and he was talking about, they said he was in a majority black neighborhood, so the reason for them saying that, it seems like, this guy had to be of a different race, and they want to make him safe. They want to make the neighborhood safe. So, to have a smooth transition, they said that the AI cameras will be able to track everyone's movement.
So basically, I do have something that's going to correlate to your topic. Atlanta is the most surveillance city as of now. And that's what it is. The goal is basically we're going to be a surveillance state, surveillance world, just like China is. They are surveillance. We're going to be surveillance. It says Atlanta is frequently cited as the most surveilled city in the U.S. and one of the highest in the world, with approximately 124 surveillance cameras per 1,000 residents. This extensive network, exceeding 60,000 public and private cameras, is utilized by law enforcement for real-time monitoring and AI-powered tracking, concentrated heavily in downtown and predominantly black neighborhoods. Now, Atlanta has more than twice as many cameras per capita as the second-ranked U.S. city, Washington, D.C. Now, the Atlanta Police Foundation network connects over 60,000 public and private cameras to a central hub. This program allows private businesses and residents to grant the police direct access to their private security cameras. So, I just thought I'd add that on to that. We're on our way to being surveillanced everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. They are putting up flock cameras everywhere. They are upgrading regular security camera systems to AI-powered systems, like Des was stating, that can track you. It can even it can even read what you have in your pocket. They can detect if it's a weapon, or they're reading and scanning your license plates. They can determine where you have traveled, where you are going. These AI cameras they are predictive crime. They try to detect if they feel that you are going to commit a crime. They can read your emotions, and all this is being fed to a hub where not only police but like CIA, like people that are ahead, they have access to this information. So
it's now a massive police training complex and expanding web of surveillance rises in its place and makes him feel watched, not protected. So the guy feels watched, not protected. The network, he says, certainly feels like an invasion of privacy. The 41-year-old unease about the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center, more commonly known as Cop City, is at the center of a much larger experiment. So,
and that's what it is. It's like they're watching us. That's what it is.
Yeah, they're watching them, because they're making them the training ground. Because it's really we want to make the black areas, the black neighborhoods safer. So we want you to be happy because wherever the poor is, usually is violence. Usually is crime. So we want it to be safer, but we don't want to change your circumstances when it comes to jobs, when it comes to investments, when it comes to better education, or what I'm saying. We don't want to change
your neighborhoods.
Fixing up your neighborhood. We don't want to change that, but we want to make it safer. So therefore, we want you to be comfortable with being poor. I'm not speaking. I don't want it to be crime riddled, but we don't want to change the circumstances at all. We want to continue to send billions of dollars overseas. Billions and trillions just overseas, and look past the places in your house that really need your care, So we want to continue to be racist, but we're going to watch you, and we're going to make sure if you commit a crime, we're going to get more people in jail. That's a way to get more people in jail.
For sure, 100%. Okay, U.S. companies support Sam Altman's World ID. Now, a Sam Altman-backed technology that many governments rejected is finding traction in the American corporate world. Now, a project designed to distinguish humans from bots using biometrics announced partnerships with Tinder, Zoom, and DocuSign. The three companies will use world digital identification to verify users, aiming to reduce deepfake scams and other fraudulent activity. So, Zoom and DocuSign and Tinder, which have millions and millions of users, are now going to be partnering up with Sam Altman's World ID to verify users using biometric identity.
They're trading water on the stock market. This is what critics say about them trading the water. It said, including UN experts, environmentalists, and activists, view the financializing of water with intense concern. Human rights versus commodity. Critics argue that treating water, a fundamental human necessity, as a market commodity places private corporate profits above human life and environmental protection. There is fear that financial speculation could inflate prices to drive profit, making water unaffordable for farms, cities, and households. So, we have to open our eyes and realize that, when they're playing with the life necessity, water like this, this should be cause for a concern that we need to try to figure out, how can we combat this, in what way that we can foil Satan's plans to have, control, because we're going to be, in a position where we're just going to be slaves. When people own the water and say, here, you get a cup
and
of water,
and they divert water of what communities and countries can receive water, what cannot.
Yeah,
they alter the routes of water too
get
as
you
well.
A cup. You've been a good boy. Get you a cup. To me, I feel like all of this in the future, immediate future. I'm not talking about nothing distant 10, 20 years. I'm thinking about 2-3 years from now. It's what they doing in China for is the digital. What is it called? The digital.
Social credit score.
Social credit score. All of these stuff will be included. Okay, you've been a good boy. We're going to give you a certain amount of water rations. Yeah, you heard shower for 5 minutes.
Well, places in the UK they track that.
We're gonna eat meatless foods. Eat these. You only can eat a certain amount of. This is your because remember Andrew Yang was talking about like a monthly amount that everybody will be getting, because he was saying like in the future, certain jobs wouldn't be here. And he was saying, and I think he said 2054, which I think he just was trying to put it out there for, but he was like 2054, like black people, of the amount that they will be worth, I think you said is 0. So to me, all of these 15-minute cities and stuff, these might be plans for us, man. You never know what these demonic people have planned, for the future. So we just got to continue to be aware. They're trying to control that water. We got Bill Gates buying up all this farmland.
Yeah.
And he's going over into Africa, and he want them to get on those GMO seeds where he can control the way they're producing their food.
Robotic flies and ticks and stuff like.
Yeah, they got to
all this
continue
stuff
to come
in the communities, man.
Yeah, they got to continue to come to him for the seed and stuff like that. He's probably gonna give them money to accept it.
Give them money,
but all they got to do is give the money to the presidents. They're so corrupt. Let me use $50 million. You accept it because you don't even understand. I'm trying to. What did he say in the TED Talk?
The presidents
if we do really hard to lower the population, what is really hard? If you magnify what really hard is. He's talking about really hard on killing people.
And the leaders don't care, because if we're getting paid off and we're still able to live luxury and have all our food and have all our lights, electricity, and we don't have to get the jabs and nothing like that, we're getting paid. Yeah. But the citizens of these countries and these nations, they are the ones that are suffering. They use these people as test grounds for different type of medicines. And why do you think these people in a lot of these countries, they come out looking deformed, having extra legs, extra fingers, just looking, like that's not normal. Stuff that'll alter your DNA. They're using these people as test grounds. That's where AIDS and all type of stuff originated from. Like all of this stuff, they test these on these people, and they don't even have access to a lot of hospitals. But the leaders are paid off.
Yeah, so you guys gotta, you gotta give your life to Jesus, man. They're starting to think through capitalism. They're trying to capitalize on water, because they know that's where the big money is. You need water every day, and if we control water, like I say, Bill Gates, he buying up land where the underground water reservoirs are at. he's gonna, he know the future. Like when they sit down at these Masonic meetings or the Bilderberg groups and they, Skull and Bones and all that, they talk about what's the steps that how can we get more money out of this population, out of the world? How can we get them under our control?
So I don't know if you saw what happened in Vietnam a couple of weeks ago, but because so many people in that country refused the digital ID, the bankers got together and kicked 80 million people out of their bank accounts, locked them out, froze them. They're just out, and there's nothing they can do about it because they refused to take the digital ID. Now, if that doesn't tell you how serious this is and how bad they want that digital ID program put into place so they can control every aspect of your life. In previous videos, I used to talk about how dangerous the programmable digital currency that they're trying to move us to would be for you.
The popular pasta sauce company Prego is joining the tech world by officially launching a device that sits on your table and records dinner conversations. Technology reporter Mike Dubusky is tracking it. All right, so what is this Prego pasta sauce collaboration all about?
Yeah, so this is a device that's called the Connection Keeper. It's like a small little puck that's designed to sit on your dinner table and record your conversations. It's a recording device at its core. And Prego has partnered up with an organization called StoryCorps, which is a nonprofit that basically collects stories from various Americans and preserves them at the Library of Congress for posterity, for historical purposes. Prego's idea is what better place to find American stories than around the dinner table. But Kira, of course, every time we talk about recording devices, there are some privacy questions that go along with that.
So we're into 6G now. I just finished 5G. I was a leader on 5G getting that done. And now they're up to 6.
Let's do it again.
What does that do? Give you a little bit deeper view into somebody's skin? See how perfect it is?
About 6G earlier, which is around 2030, I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual, kind of the most common interface. Wow. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
It's going to affect you. Now, if I don't have your attention yet, let me get you really scared. Are you ready? These are the 8 top humanoid robots that are on the market. I'm only going to focus on one. I'm going to focus on the one Figure 0 from Figure AI. Why am I focusing on them? They have contracts with the top 200 Fortune 200 companies in the world. They all have made their orders to order this robot. Not only have they put in orders, but they've also said, we want the robot to be smart, and they've given it huge amounts of data, their maintenance books. So a lot of these robots first will be deployed in jobs where human beings don't want to work, say in a factory, or people in mining who are about 1 kilometer underground in that heat. Nobody wants to work there. So these robots will be deployed there. So they've given all the data on all the manuals so these robots know what to do. Now here's the thing, not only do these robots have all the data from the top 200 Fortune 200 companies in the world, these robots have all the knowledge of every ChatGPT and AI ever given. That's what's inside the brains of these robots. It has the power of this intelligence of AI, plus all the knowledge of the
AI, data centers. This is the new nuclear arms race. There's a small number of billionaires, frankly, that exhibit dark triad personality traits that should be nowhere near leadership for humanity. They're more than playing with fire. And they're creating the thing that is 100% not just a global surveillance state, but something to program and push the people around. These data centers have been effectively slipped in under the cover of night, NDA forms. The billionaire elite knew exactly what they were doing to take advantage of us and to push these in before anybody would know what's up. Tax abatements for 10 to 15 years. We will be subsidizing the cost of their electricity through skyrocketing bills. They're not creating good power generation, clean power generation, even cold power generation that's good for everybody. When they need more, they'll bring in massive gas turbines only for themselves. And then, of course, you have massive environmental concerns.
We're seeing it in other states.
Legitimately destroying the water. I mean, I'm a sportsman.
Block cameras are not just crime deterrents. They are watching you. They are logging you, even if you do not commit a crime. They have systems that log your license plate, your vehicle details, the time that you were there, the location. They can catalog your make, model, color, bumper stickers, roof racks, even visible damage to your vehicle down to scratches and dents. And then they store that data in searchable databases used by police and other three-letter agencies across the country. That is not just crime prevention. That is mass surveillance being marketed to us as safety. Well, don't do crime and you'll be okay. You are thinking way too small. You are quite literally still inside of the box. You trust the government with a permanent surveillance network? Freedom means being left alone by the state unless you have actually done something, not being tracked just in case. And something that absolutely baffles me is the fact that the CEO of Flock Safety has already compared people exposing the camera locations and criticizing these systems to terrorists.
Do you guys remember Diala, the Albanian artificial intelligence that has been appointed onto the parliament within Albania? So in other words, she, or this thing, is a part of their government. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because today, Sheikh Mohammed posted something on X, which is really interesting. And Sheikh Mohammed is the vice president of the UAE. So what he said was, under the directives of the president of the UAE, we launch a new government model. Within 2 years, 50% of government sectors, services, and operations will run on agentic AI, making the UAE the first government globally to operate at this scale through autonomous systems. He goes on to say AI is no longer a tool. It analyzes, decides, executes, and improves in real time. It will become our executive partner to enhance services, accelerate decisions, and raise efficiency. He goes on to say that this transformation has a clear timeline, 2 years. 2 years. Performance across government will be measured by speed of adoption, quality of implementation, and mastery of AI in redesigning government work. He says, we are investing in our people. Every federal employee will be trained to master AI, building one of the world's strongest capabilities in AI-driven government. He concludes by saying the world is changing, technology is accelerating, our principle remains constant. People come first. Our goal is a government that is faster, more responsive, and more impactful. And this was posted today, April 23rd, 2026. And so
Homeland Security is building smart glasses that let federal agents identify anyone on the street from a distance just by looking at them. According to budget documents obtained by Ken Klippenstein, they're called ICE glasses. They pulse federal biometric databases in real time, matching faces and even walking gait to government records. An agent sees you, the glasses run your face, and if you're on a watch list, they know before they speak to you. A DHS attorney told Klippenstein the project will be portrayed as identifying illegal aliens. The reality is this affects all Americans, particularly protesters. Similar tech was used in Iraq and Afghanistan. They called it non-cooperative biometrics, capturing your identity without your consent.
Well, this evening, the airport now using robots. They'll soon be joining baggage handlers at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. Japan Airlines is starting a 2-year trial with the humanoid robots to see if they can help with baggage handling and cleaning the aircraft. Japan Airlines says the industry is facing challenges with an aging and shrinking workforce.
Across the country, new data centers are driving up utility bills in at least 13 states. This analysis found Americans who live near data centers are paying as much as 267% more for energy than 5 years ago. And in the next 5 years, the amount of energy consumed by commercial buildings like data centers in Georgia will more than double.
Data centers will add billions of dollars to costs to electricity rates in Georgia if we don't get better protection than we have right now.
Now, this is from Wells Fargo. Anybody bank with Wells Fargo? Listen to this. And look, just because you don't bank with Wells Fargo doesn't mean this is not coming to all these other banks and corporations, because it is. You already know that. Here's the headline. Wells Fargo patent describes smart dust for biometric payment verification. According to a detailed LinkedIn post by Joe Petrocelli Mudaman, Wells Fargo has secured an active U.S. patent. This is U.S. 1135466. Yes, guys, I'm not making that up. B1. You can't make this up. That envisions a futuristic layer of biometric security using microscopic sensors known as smart dust. Look at this image. This is what we're talking about here. This is what they want. Payment approved. They're integrating this into biometric payment verifications, smart dust particles. We'll give you more detail about that in just a second. The patent describes micro electromechanical systems, or MEMS, M-E-M-S, motes, tiny dust-like particles equipped with sensors that can be released into the air during transactions to, quote, verify a user's identity in real time. This technology aims to create an invisible, multi-layered authentication shield for banking and payments. Hello, buying, selling, and trading, potentially transforming how identity is confirmed at point-of-sale terminals or through mobile apps. The process unfolds rapidly upon payment initiation. A base station which can be integrated into a POS terminal, smartphone, or nearby hub, activates and releases the motes near the user. These sensors float or propel themselves into position, gathering intimate biometric and environmental data, including heart rate, blood pressure, body temperature, breathing patterns, facial recognition, voice signatures, and motion profiles. Is this not terrifying? Quote, these motes are stored in the base station or carried by the user in a device. Upon activation, they are released into the air near the user. The patent summary notes selected motes then transmit their readings, each carrying a unique ID, there it is, that forms part of a dynamic smart key.
A Milwaukee cop just resigned after using flock cameras to stalk a woman he was dating. He ran her plate 179 times in 2 months. According to the Institute for Justice, this is happening all over the country. They've documented at least 14 cases of officers using license plate readers to stalk romantic partners, exes, and in one case, a complete stranger a Florida deputy spotted on a TV set and decided to pull over. A Kansas police chief ran his ex-girlfriend's plate over 200 times. A Kentucky officer tracked an ex hundreds of times in 2 months. Every single one of these searches was logged as an investigation. The Milwaukee cop only got caught because his victims looked themselves up on a public website called Have I Been Flocked?
If they were using my image, they were using images of me as a prepubescent child. So the summer I turned 12 years old, I decided to look myself up on the internet. And I spent the next 25 years or so, I mean, honestly, more than that, still to this day, wishing that I had never done it.
Mara's childhood was spent in the spotlight. When she was just 9 years old, she played the lead in Matilda.
Because what I found were people on a forum saying that they had images of me nude and having sex. Now, I was 12 years old. Obviously, there was nothing like that out there about me. I, had never been kissed.
They'd used images of her from her films and turned them into child sexual abuse.
Most of the pictures of me out in the public eye were of me from ages 5 to 9. So if they were using my image, they were using images of me as a prepubescent child. I was incredibly devastated. I could not stop crying. I felt ashamed. I kind of tried to hide. And I think it may have been one of the factors that led me to not want to act anymore.
The tech CEOs and all of their mouthpieces love to keep telling us about how AI is supposed to benefit us. Mark Zuckerberg said AI is going to accelerate humanity's progress. Larry Ellison, CEO of Oracle, said that AI is the fastest growing business in human history. Jeff Bezos, he said, there has never been a better time to be excited about the future. Now the question is, the future for who? Because in the last 10 years, Bezos increased his net worth from $35 billion to more than $200 billion. Zuckerberg increased his net worth from $33 billion to more than $250 billion. Larry Ellison increased his net worth from $54 billion to more than $400 billion. And meanwhile, the federal minimum wage in this country has not changed since 2009 from $7.25 an hour.
And they're starting to limit ways that we can travel too. Now, also, whatever you speak about on, your social media, that is going to be connected to your passport. They are starting to cancel people's passport just because of their social media.
Yeah.
I looked into the brain chip. I just want to, for those of you all who are not really familiar with what exactly a brain chip is, what it's all connected to, I do have some information here for you guys so you all can do further research if you like. The brain chip developed by Neuralink, so I'm going to go talk about the one specifically by Neuralink, known as the Link or the N1 implant, is connected to a specific area of the brain responsible for movement, specifically the motor cortex, using ultra-thin, flexible electrode threads. Now, the internal connection, which is the brain tissue, it uses the threads and electrodes. The coin-sized implant uses 64 ultra-fine, flexible threads, each equipped with over 1,000 electrodes to detect neural activity. The motor cortex. These threads are surgically inserted into the brain's cerebral cortex by a robot, focusing on the motor controlling areas that handle movement intentions. 3, the power system. The power system, which is the wireless charging. The device is powered by a small battery that is charged wirelessly from the outside using a magnetic charger, allowing the user to charge it while wearing a headset or similar device. Now, comparisons with other systems, you have the Synchron's Centroid. This BCI, which is brain-computer images, is inserted through the jugular vein into the blood vessels near the motor cortex rather than direct tissue insertion, reducing the need for open brain surgery. You also have the Utah Array. It's an older type of BCI that uses rigid needle-like electrodes directly in the brain, often requiring external wires to exit the scalp. It says, as of 26, Neuralink device is in clinical trials with users utilizing the system to control digital devices. And so that is just a little information about these brain chips. So when you hear us say brain chips or hear someone else speak on brain chips, that is what we're speaking on.
They have a Islamic prayer room within the Vatican. So that lets you know that, the Vatican is not of God. Catholics, I hate to say it, you guys are not of God, man.
So let me ask you something, Des. With that Islamic, because I know you've read up on Islamic culture. What are some of the things? Why is this bad? It's a
different religion. It's Islamic.
Mm-hmm.
They follow the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
So their belief system.
They believe you also can have more than one wife. They believe that you can also marry young. We're talking about like little girls, they believe in that. They believe that if you don't believe in their God, that they're willing to die for what they believe in. And you can die too.
The infidel must die. So they believe that they should kill you because you don't believe what they believe. Although they try to act like they're peaceful and all that type of stuff. Those are the ones that are not devout Muslims, because a devout Muslim believes that he's supposed to kill you, and he's willing to kill you because you don't follow their God. That's what a devout Muslim is. Christians are devout because they're following God and keeping all His commandments, and so that we're devout in that way. A devout Muslim is those type of ISIS people, those type of Taliban and stuff like this, willing to blow themselves up and stuff because they believe they're they're doing something for God, and they're going to get 72 virgins. So those are the ones that they try to say are radical Islamists, but those are the devout Islamic people.
And the practice of Islam is spreading rapidly across the world. They are in our government. They are building communities in a lot of states. Like Des said, prayer rooms. They are building epic cities. Also, governments are also funding them, as well as these Jewish people in the communities as well. The Jewish people, their religion, they're not too far off from the Muslim Islamic practices as well.
Satanists, that's what they go by the Talmud.
Especially the Babylonian Jews and the Talmudic Jews and all of that. So they're not too far off from Islam, ladies and gentlemen. Just read what's in their Talmud. They don't believe in Jesus. They don't recognize Jesus as God, and they hate him.
Yeah, Catholics, they're the one that ride the beast in the Book of Revelations. They got also the Abrahamic house where they got the Catholics. They got the Muslims
and Christianity,
and they got the Jews. I mean, the Khazarians. You know, the Jewish, the Jew house. I mean, the synagogue or whatever. All within one plot of land. So that's the religion. They basically saying that they're coming together. They're trying to unite in their beliefs, and we know Catholics, they unite with anybody. I think the last Pope said that Jesus is not the only way.
It's multiple ways. That's what he said, and that's not true, because we know that Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." So there's not multiple ways, multiple roads that you could get to heaven. That's not true.
The Bible says that Jesus said that I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. So we're only saved by what he did on the cross. So anything other than that is demonic. And so they let you know that, Catholics, if he's saying it's different ways, then, you shouldn't be a Catholic, man, because he's going against what Jesus said. He said, I'm the way. He said, he the door. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we got to really get in the scriptures and be able to discern righteousness from unrighteousness.
Every new car could have biometric analyzing AI by 2027, and it may decide if you are fit to drive. So a federal law that was passed in 2021 could soon require all new cars sold in the United States to monitor drivers using artificial intelligence before they can start their vehicles. Now, starting in 2027, new cars could be equipped with AI systems that scans a driver's face, eyes, and behavior to determine if they are alert enough to drive. The technology could prevent a car from starting if the system detects the driver is impaired or distracted. Now, they are saying the reason for this is to cut down on drunk and impaired drivers and to improve road safety. And a lot of people are also having concerns with this. But this technology can also pull your car over. It can drive your car back to your house, drive your car to the police station. It can, basically, the AI will have control over your vehicle. And also, some new vehicles are starting to be equipped with subscriptions as well. Like if you want to use heated seats or use the radio, or, you have to pay a monthly subscription to use that. So having the AI in the vehicle, I don't think that's cool, because maybe people will say, yeah, we need to cut down and we need improved road safety. But what if you just got off a double? What if you just happen to be yawning or something? Or what if you need to get out of Dodge, something is happening, you can't even start your vehicle because the AI won't let you, because it's not, you could be in a hurry, you could be scared for your life, and you're not able to get in and start your vehicle. So.
A lot of people, they say like, I'm just going to keep an older car. I think that they're going to try to start messing with the gas, and they're going to make it, I think it's some kind of different gas.
Something that they say is messing with the motors or the engines.
And that's what they're going to start giving you. That's what they're going to start, messing your cars up with the gas and force you to get a newer car. So you got to, be conscious of that in the future, because it's all about control, man. They want you to get a digital car, electric car, even though the electric car is not better than the gas car, because of the batteries. You got to sit. I think you're still sitting for an hour or something at the electric thing, right? I think in China, they got a battery that recharges your car for like in 10 minutes, but they don't want that over here because the car companies don't want to compete with the Chinese cars.
And the taxes over here, as soon as they come over here.
They got some good cheap cars, too. They have some good cheap cars, man. I'm talking about cars about $10,000, man. And those are electric cars, got TVs in the back. They got cars that drive on water. They got cars you can lay down and virtually go to sleep and the car be driving.
Ain't that
they got some
man?
Good stuff over there, man. And they don't want them. All the car companies come together and block it, because they don't want to compete.
No,
we're talking about we got a free market.
It'll be no competition. It'll be no competition.
It really wouldn't be, because
none at all.
It's more bang for your buck. But it's bad. Like what you're saying, that they will be able to shut your car off.
Yeah,
You know, just think if you miss a bill, I mean, you know, miss your car note, and you waiting on another day.
You missed it by 1 day. Let's just say if you missed your car note by 1 or 2 days, boom.
You go outside, your car is gone because it drives itself.
You using too much gas. You keep putting gas in it every day, or you're not putting it. Boom, we're gonna shut it down.
Hey, didn't this technology exist already?
I've been seeing it in movies, man.
Like back in the day, I could have sworn that your car, if it was something connected to your car, it would turn off.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a different type of technology where
the AI will be controlling your car.
The AI controls, or you would be driving, but it will have the decision to
the AI is like the
to drive or
brain.
not.
It's
Yeah,
like the brain.
if you're impaired or not.
Yeah.
If you okay.
But think about it this way. It also be connected to you, like you said, of your behavior of like what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just getting the car trying to drive.
If you ain't paying the note, or if they're saying you're using too much carbon or fuel, like, hey, you're charging up your battery every single day. Slow down, like stop using all electricity. It may just stop taking a charge. The AI may say no, please don't insert.
Or they
anything.
can punish you.
Yeah.
See, that's how they do it. They just want the software in your car.
Yeah.
So then we can punish you. You can't drive.
Another way you're being surveillance.
You can't drive 15 miles out of your city.
Yeah, you're driving too much too.
I'm just saying, like, if they punish you, say, okay, you in a 15 mile radius.
Yeah, but I'm also saying, like, hey, it's 8 p.m. What are you doing on the road? You know what I mean?
And then the car can tell.
Drive your car back to the
car
house.
can tell the police station where what you doing and where you went.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said on Thursday that cash payments at gas stations and highway toll booths will be eliminated starting this year. Sheinbaum said her administration is working with the banking sector to standardize digitized payments procedures nationwide to promote their use, and especially with Banco de Bienestar to facilitate digital payments for all Mexicans. Man, they're taking things that's most important, saying they're going to digitize those payments, man. And what do you all think is going to come with that? Like,
social credit score, man. They're going to control. They're trying to control their population. That's what it's about. That's why we're waiting on the Antichrist to be revealed, waiting on the rapture to happen. Bible talks about if the people that don't take the mark, you won't be able to buy or sell. So to be able to get in that position where they can control whether you buy or sell, it has to be digital. Yeah. So that's all they're doing. Every city, every country, every nation is going to do the same thing.
They're doing the same thing. We've been reading these topics for about 2 or 3 years now. Everybody's on the same page. Yeah. A bill banning whites-only housing passes Pennsylvania House by 1 vote. So a bill banning a white-only housing, which is a housing project, ladies and gentlemen, it passed the Pennsylvania House on Tuesday despite not a single Republican supporting the measure. Now, House Bill 2103 would close a loophole in the state that could let white nationalist groups establish communities under the guise of a private club or member-only organization by blocking such groups from restricting membership by race, color, and national origin to deny equal access to housing, employment, and public accommodations. The bill also expands anti-discrimination protections for employment, housing, and public accommodations to a person's sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity or expression. Now, I also feel like they had these back in the day, because even to stay in some of these neighborhoods now, you have, HOVs or whatever, and HOVs can decide, hey, maybe if you can buy a house in that neighborhood and you have to follow those rules in that neighborhood, or you will get fined, or they will be knocking at your door. But in this day and age that we live in, for a white-only community housing project to be banned only because of a vote by one person, 101 to 100, that tells you where we are at a nation during this time. Yeah, I could see if it was like 101 to 10 or 2 or 20, but it was 101 to 100. So you had half of them feeling that, hey, this should be here. And one person broke the vote. Probably the head of it was just like, no, we can't let this go through.
Yeah, it tells you the climate that we're living in, but we all know that. But you know what? I don't think it necessarily tells you the climate that we're living in. When it comes to the actual population, we're talking about people that has been voted into office, and those people are in masonry, or those people are in these secret societies, and they have an agenda. So I don't want to always put the, just look at our white brothers and sisters as a reflection of these politician votes. You know what I'm saying? So their agendas, they want to divide and conquer, because they want us, the blacks, to focus, the whites to focus on the blacks, even though in the future things are looking down. You know what I'm saying? Like we might be in a recession and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The Fed continue to increase, and they continue to print money, like crazy. So the dollar is, losing value. These wars and stuff that's going over, Iran war, and Israel and Lebanon, and Gaza and like all these different things that are happening around the world, can make a person, feel, I guess, feel uncertain of the future. And them trying to make white-only houses, because I think, you remember Nixon said, if you give the white people something to look down at, they'll basically give you their money. So you have to give our white brothers and sisters a person to that abuse, or to look like you're being harmed by the government. And they will most likely side with the government, no matter what's happening to us, and not even think about, hey man, I'm the frog in this pot, and it's warming up.
Yeah, and that's why we
the
shouldn't
future is
cleave to the
looking
world.
bleak. So why should I hold on to my race so much and not look at what the government is actually doing? I'm too busy focusing on a white only housing, when we might not have our purchasing power is being devalued. Mm-hmm. We're going to get some gas, man. It's about $5-6.
Yeah, or it may not be no gas there, and pretty soon the gas may be $7 to $8. The gas here is $5.
But I'm thinking about a white only housing while all this stuff is going on. They talking
may
about
not have
drafting
no water and food and all type of stuff.
They're talking about drafting for a freaking war that this population has 92 million people, and they're all religious, man. They don't care about dying. Then the president is speaking on invading Cuba, like he's got to go there.
And the situation in Cuba is bad. They have no electricity. You have doctors completing surgeries, having to use flashlights. Food is drying up. Yeah. Gas, they do not have gas at the gas stations. They have to purchase gas from the black market, and it's about $10 a gallon. Yeah. It's terrible. People are getting sick. The medicines are running low. But I have a couple clips actually about this journalist going over in Cuba and showing those conditions and interviewing some of those people. Yeah, you do know, go ahead.
They're bringing up the Epstein files. They got the Epstein files. They bring up UFOs, but in the Epstein files, they're eating kids, man. And then Trump had to pay off this woman that said that they raped her when she was 14 or underage, And we're thinking about white only housing. Well, this included in this bill would have been residential housing development and planned communities. Operated under the guise of private member clubs, member only. So it would have been, they're trying to get white only communities. I have no problem with that, because that will force us as being blacks, as being the true Israelites, quote unquote African Americans, to wake up and to realize this is not our nation. The Bible, no. If it would have passed, if you can't come in my community anymore, you're gonna start going to jail. You coming out here? It's gonna be back in the days. We're gonna start beating your butt. What you doing out here? What you doing out here with our white women? That walks hand in hand.
If you can't
come out in my community, Why are you out here? And we're going to start telling our white women, stop dating these black dudes because this is a white-only housing. This is a white-only building. This restaurant is
also
white-only.
they tried to build a white-only housing community out in Texas, I believe, as well.
Yeah, but it lets you know what
their thought process is by doing that.
Not the white brothers and sisters, the average population. Not them, but it's the politicians. So this is letting you know their agenda. Their agenda, they want it to be black versus white. They're trying to do the divide and conquer. They don't want us to be together looking at the movements and what the government is doing and the demonic bills and their demonic agenda. That these are Satanists. That they in Bohemian Grove out there worshiping the owl, sacrificing kids and stuff. They don't want us to focus on that stuff. They want us to think about white-only housing, white-only restaurants, dividing. No, sir. We're going to look at you, and we are now. It's going to force my brothers, because I think the future is going to be more racist. So it's going to force our brothers, Lord willing, to realize that this is not our land. The Bible says that in the land of their captivity, they should remember themselves. A lot of us are starting to realize that we are Israelites, and we're going to realize that these people are against us. So therefore, let's start to get our own grocery store. Let's start to have our own communities. And the communities we do have, let's help brothers out and fix their houses up. If this building is broke down, let's go to our politicians and say, hey, we're going to invest our own money to get this building up right. We're tired of looking at this. It's been like this for 50 years. You mean to tell me you're not using no money to think about these buildings that's been boarded up and stuff like that?
And why are they closing?
Demolish it? Or let's try to.
Why are they closing down schools in our communities and building more prisons?
Yeah.
They closing down schools in black communities, not in these suburban or these white areas, and not closing schools, but keeping the neighborhoods tore up, burnt down housing, closing the schools, building more prisons. There's no jobs in the hoods. There's no banks. There's no teachers, and the books that you have. It's just all.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about this. This is good. So to let people know the times we're living
in. A country that has toppled so many governments in Africa, that has led so many coups in Africa and other parts of the world. A country that has killed so many of our leaders in Africa and other parts of the world. The killers of Patrice Lumumba, those who toppled Kwame Nkrumah, those who killed Nasser, those who killed Muammar Gaddafi, today are coming to teach us about democracy. A country that has been built on brutal force, on enslavement of other human beings, on the humiliation of Africans, the exploitation of Africans, the plunder of Africa, today is coming to teach us about democracy. If you have no respect for the dignity of others, if you have no respect for the sovereignty of other countries, you cannot claim to be a champion of democracy.
Why is it that so much of Netflix content for children promotes a transgender ideology? Almost half of your content for children, I'm talking about minor children now, I'm not talking about teenagers, minor children, promotes a transgender ideology agenda. I was just looking at the data here from your various series. And what concerns me is, just 2 days ago, a jury in New York awarded a former transitioner $2 million because she said that her psychologists and others pressured her into, they pushed on her an ideology that proved to be extremely detrimental. I'm sure you know that in the UK, the National Health Service in the UK has said that they're not going to perform transgender surgeries or any longer so-called gender-affirming care for minors, including in counseling, because it is so incredibly detrimental. Our own HHS has come forward with similar findings this past year, yet if you turn on Netflix, you'll find that an enormous amount, and I say this as a parent with 3 young children, an enormous amount of your children's programming has this ideology and agenda in it.
First, Santa's husband. This book tells the story of Santa, his husband, and their life at the North Pole. And I want to assure everyone this is the True story of Mr. and Mr. Claus. Is this approved? Is this what you're telling the children to read? Is this okay in your guidance?
I'm not aware that that book is.
You're the superintendent. You're not aware of what's going on in your school system? You don't know what's printed? It's trash. That's what good that is. Here's a great one here. These are my eyes. This is my nose. This is my vulva. These are my toes. I'm going to read a passage for you out of it. This is for your school. Some boys have a penis, but not all boys do. So always use your manners. May I ask what I can call you? This is damn trash. Pure trash you're putting to these children. And again, here we go. It isn't rude to be nude for 4-year-olds approved by your district. I hope y'all can see what these children, 4-year-olds, are looking at. Nude photos.
This decision, and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves.
Hey, this is a farm boy. I'm in the flower section of the grocery store. I wrote up something, a whole bunch of somethings. When it comes to flour, things are changing in the world. Have you ever heard of cricket flour? There are at least 6 or 7 countries in this companies in this world that's now using crickets, insects, to make flour. According to Dover's, PepsiCo is looking to use cricket proteins in products such as Cheetos and Quaker granola oats. Insect Gourmet says insect-related businesses in the Western world are producing insect proteins for foods, beverages, confectionaries, and other things such as butters, oils, and pestos, as well as spice and seasoning. So it's most likely going to show up, not be labeled, and you're not going to know it, in pretty much everything you eat. It is expected to reach $4.6 billion in sales by 2027 and produce 1.4 million tons of insect protein.
The US government just gave Zambia a memo. It said, give us your copper and cobalt or we will pull HIV medication that is keeping 1.3 million people alive. I am paraphrasing, but I'm not being hypothetical. This is exactly what is on the table at the moment. Hi, my name is Tolu. I love all things development, Africa, and political economy. So here's the full picture. For over 20 years, the US has funded Zambia's response to HIV through PEPFAR, totaling around $6.7 billion. When the Trump administration froze foreign aid funding in January 2025, Zambian clinics were holding drugs that they were legally prohibited from distributing. Then came a leaked State Department memo outlining what Zambia had to do to get some of this funding back, not all of it. The memo outlined that for 5 years, Zambia would receive $1 billion. This was less than what they were receiving before. Also, they had to provide preferential treatment to American companies to Zambian mines. They also had to share health data for up to 10 years and also biological samples for 25 years. As we know, Zambia rejected this. What makes this story particularly uncomfortable is the geography of it. Zambia sits on some of the largest copper reserves in the world, and they have minerals that are essential to the world's green transition. China has spent years building infrastructure in the copper belt in exchange for mining rights, and now America has realized that they've lost ground and they are using life-changing HIV medication as a way to catch up. Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Kenya have all pushed back on these memorandums of understanding.
Did you know that 14 African countries are forced to pay a colonial tax to France, totaling billions of dollars every single year, but no one in the West talks about it? Think about it like this. Imagine working a full-time job, but your former boss forces you to deposit 50% of your paycheck into a savings account for the privilege of using your own money. That is the reality of the CFA franc. France controls the currency of 14 countries, prints their money, and requires them to keep half of their foreign reserves in the French treasury in Paris. While mainstream economists call this stability, for millions of Africans, it's a financial cage. It means that these nations can't control their own interest rates. How then can a country be truly independent if its national wallet is held by its former colonizer? This is just the money. Wait until you see what happens to leaders who try to say no.
Okay, I had to fact check this, and it turns out it is completely true. In Germany, since January, men aged 17 to 45 must get permission from the military if they plan to leave Germany for more than 3 months. And you may be thinking, you mean German soldiers, like who aren't deployed, need to ask for permission? No, every single man aged 17 to 45 needs permission from the military if they want to leave Germany for more than 3 months.
Between 1854 and 1929, over 200,000 children were put on trains and sent across America. They were called orphan trains. Children from crowded cities like New York were transported to small towns across the country. Some were true orphans, but many were not. Some still had parents. Some were simply poor. Some were taken from families who could no longer support them. When the trains arrived, the children were lined up in front of townspeople. Families would walk by, look them over, and choose which child to take home. Some children were adopted into good homes. Others were used as labor on farms, in houses, working long hours for little or nothing in return. Many were given new names, new identities, and in some cases, their past was completely erased. Over time, records were lost, stories disappeared, and today, many descendants still do not know where their families originally came from, which raises a question. Were the orphan trains just a relocation program, or was something else happening behind the scenes?
Pastors are now being told to prepare for a Bible-changing event. In fact, many of them are all over social media right now, and some are kind of freaking out over the information that they just heard. Now, according to them, there was a secret meeting in Tennessee with the 6 of them. They were not allowed to bring any phones or recording devices, but the meeting was held with supposedly people that are linked to the intelligence community still, whether or not they're still employed with the government, nobody knows. And reportedly also one congressman called into the meeting, and that was actually Eric Burleson. He's a congressman from Missouri. He called in. He doesn't know who was in attendance or what was said, but he called in and made a statement. But anyway,
Project Esther. I'm going to read this. Project Esther is a policy initiative released by the Heritage Foundation in October 2024, designed as a national strategy to combat anti-Semitism. It provides a blueprint for targeting pro-Palestinian protest groups and anti-war organizations and individuals, often by conflating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. Now, as of 2026, it is considered a companion to Project 2025 and focuses on dismantling what it terms as the Hamas Support Network, which is the SHN in the United States. Now, they want to target deportation, so they're going to start revoking visas and deporting foreign students and faculty associated with pro-Palestine activities. It's also going to take legal action, is designating civil society groups as terrorist linked and using law enforcement to disrupt them. Funding cuts. They're going to reduce federal funding for academic institutions that are accused of tolerating anti-Semitism. Curriculum changes. Removing faculty and dismantling curriculum seen as sympathetic to Palestinians. Surveillance. They're going to start monitoring student groups and activist networks. Now, the creator of the plan was developed by, as I was mentioned earlier, the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank with input from a task force composed of mostly Christian evangelists and conservative organizations rather than mainstream Jewish organizations, ladies and gentlemen. So I just wanted to read that just to let you know the kind of stuff that they are trying to that they are implementing, because Project Esther is real. You all can Google that up. Critics argue that Project Esther deliberately broadens the definition of anti-Semitism to include legitimate political speech and criticism of Israeli government policy. So, ladies and gentlemen, while they're distracting us, they're also laying rules and implementing policies and making them into bills that they're laying the ground. If you speak out about Israel, if you in support of other countries, and they're also laying the groundwork for AI and digital. It's going really fast, and a lot of us are not catching on to this.
We see that a couple Christian artists were performing at Rolling Loud.
Oh, that's dope. So, I didn't see that. That's what's up. Shout out to you all.
Yep. I think 1K Few, I want to say D1. I don't know, maybe I think Caleb Gordon, I believe. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I watched D1 perform, and so the ones that did perform, I think it's pretty cool.
That's what's up, man.
For them to be accepting, even though I do think it's kind of early on in the festival, and it's a couple people out there.
Well, the devil not gonna give us the main stage. They'll let us perform in the afternoon or in the morning while people gathering, but they ain't gonna get you. They're not gonna let you perform before Uzi or.
Yeah, that's all.
They ain't gonna let you perform before no Chief Keef, or they gonna not let you go on before what's the guy, Playboy Cardi. They're not gonna let you go before Playboy Cardi. We gonna when the festival first open, you all can get up there. But I don't care if you all are on that stage. If it's about 5 or 10 people there or 100 people, you all use that to showcase the talent that God gave you, and you use that to plant seeds because that's dope. And who knows?
At least you're being recorded.
That's what's up.
At least you're being recorded, man.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? And hey, it's pretty cool. I like seeing that. Because hey, at the end of the day, you can make now those guys. D1. I don't believe he's a Christian. I think he's a positive artist. You know what I'm saying? He can't really defend himself when it comes to the Big Bank interview. He can't give a defense on his belief, why he believed what he believed, and he don't quote scripture. You basically never. All that talking he does, he rarely quotes scripture. You rarely hear the word of God from him. You hear a lot of D1,
So to piggyback off what Des is saying, recently within the past month or so, D1 has went on I believe a rollout campaign. That's what I'm going to call it. He went to several podcasts and interviews, and in these podcasts and interviews, like Des said, he had Big Bank. It was another one in Atlanta. I know he came across Charleston White, but
and Charleston, that was a massacre. Charleston White tore him down.
But a lot of times you get on these platforms, people are looking to decode you and your spiritual walk. And you have to be able to stand your ground and to stand on the word. Yeah. You are to be looking at the world from a biblical perspective. And if you don't have no biblical or spiritual tools inside of your tool bag, and you're just going to the construction site with nothing in your tool bag but an empty bag, they are going to dismantle you and tear you into pieces. They had him looking like that he wasn't even a Christian. They were asking him simple questions about the gospel. Who is your God? Or what's the name? He didn't know Yeshua. He didn't know Yahuwah. It's just certain things. And I'm not saying, hey, that was the main focal point of, but just overall as a whole, it's like they had him silenced. His mouth was just open and dropped. Like when you sign up to go on these platforms, be prepared to give the gospel and to stand your ground, because that's what they're looking to do. They're looking to get clicks. They're looking to get views. They're looking to argue and stand you down. So you definitely have to go in here prepared, Yeah, it also tells a lot about your private prayer and study habits that you have, because it counts when you're in front of the camera, not just at home in your four walls.
Yeah, especially a guy that graduated. I wanted to say he graduated from LSU and have a class that he teaches in Harvard and these big colleges. So you're a smart man. You mean tell me you can't recant no scripture? These little remedial or common questions that they're asking you don't have no answer for them.
Well, he did say this. He did say, when I go on these platforms, he say, I use it to glorify God, and I give the big man the alley hoop. You got to say more than that,
You don't
man.
glorify him
You
at
gotta
all
say
because
more
you
than
don't
that.
give
You gotta-
none of his words, man. You don't get none of his words. How you glorifying him? You know, you got to give the words. You got to be able to give the gospel. I haven't heard you really say you believe that Jesus died on the cross, man. Not in no interview. Like, I feel like if you're going to be like if you're a Christian, that means you're not worried about, you want people to be saved. So in every interview that I do or he does, he's supposed to be, if a person first time seeing D1, they need to say, oh, that's a Christian there. Not just a person that's an artist and a Christian be on the back. No, I'm a Christian first. And this is what I believe that
Your
Jesus
fruit
died on the
should
cross.
say that you're a Christian, yeah.
Yes. What does God say about smoking? What does God say about homosexuality? What does Yahweh say about fornication or adultery or stealing, murders, and looking at
Or what is
everything
sin.
through a biblical lens rather than from your perspective. He talks more about rappers than he do the average person.
Yeah. I mean,
and sin and stuff like that.
I mean, it'd be nice if we had like it'd be nice if we had a Christian brother or sister, not saying they aren't out there, that they get these opportunities to go on these huge platforms and they utilize it to glorify God and his word and to actually plant seeds. A lot of times when I see some of these Christian rappers or Christian entertainers, they go on these platforms, they use it to blend in and they don't even know the gospel. So I'm not sure if they're reading the Bible, but when you are put in front of a camera and you have millions of people watching you, you are supposed to use that to plant seeds, to glorify God, and to stand on the word. Yes, people know you talented because when people see that interview who you are, they're going to go straight to look up your music or look up what movies you've been in and all of that. Yeah. But you on that camera, and the person that's watching that is going to be able to test the spirit to see if it is of God and what fruit is on that tree.
And I never heard him talk about what is it? What is those people called? What's those people called?
The Hebrew Israelites?
No, not just them. Yeah, them too. But he went to college too.
Okay.
The sororities and fraternities. I never heard him speak on them either. So they just let you guys know that be aware that everybody that's talking about Jesus, man, these people are not Christian. Make sure you look at their fruit first.
I also want to talk about before we get out of here. I want to talk about Lecrae playing the Ouija board. On Twitch, on live kick streaming, he was playing the Ouija board. They had, and I do have a couple clips. I guess his manager called him and told me, "Hey, be careful with playing that. You want to make sure you don't, bring into any spirits." But this guy, I believe, is probably like 17 years old. He's a young guy and he's pretty popular in the streaming. And I know for sure that he's not the one that just came up with, "Hey, let's go get a Ouija board and stream and play it on live." They're starting to introduce these things to these young kids who watch these streamers. First it was we're braiding our hair together. He's braiding his hair together with another man. Then it's him wearing a wig and dressing up as a woman. Now it's him playing the Ouija board that's demonic, that has been banned in places, and people have, I believe there has been reports of people have died that played the Ouija board and have also have seen demonic spirits, playing the Ouija board. I know we have an experience. We played the Ouija board and, that stuff is real. So for a streamer who has millions of followers, a young fan base at that, to be playing the Ouija board, seeing lighting candles around there in the dark room, that's not a good sign at all, ladies and gentlemen. The Bible says we're to not participate in sorcery, any divination, any wizards, talking to the dark side of anything of that nature. So that's a huge no-no. Again, as we discussed in the last show, we're coming to a time now where a lot of people with influence, and now it's starting to hit the streamers, they're starting to promote darkness. They're starting to promote Satanism and this demonic stuff and upside down crosses and having people on there saying, "Do you believe in God?" No, I don't believe in God. Like, that's the agenda that I see is being pushed with the majority of these streamers. It's not just about traveling, tasting food, working out, we're vlogging. Let me show you how to do a new trade or a new skill. It's all about how dark can I get these kids to be? Let me get them to paint their fingernails and color their hair and talk like a woman. That's what I see about that. And also going on to singer David. This has been going on for a while, but again, singer David had a relationship with the 14-year-old girl. It's believed that they could have started when she was 13 years old. However, he killed her and dismembered her body. And the body was in his house for a period of time. It was a clip. I believe I have the clip where he told the people, hey, if you smell something coming out my bathroom, it's just me. I just used the bathroom 2 hours ago or whatever. But he killed her, dismembered her body, and left it there and made a song about it. Guys, these are our entertainers, our singers doing this. That's not normal. And then you look at him, he just looks dark. And then he went on to sing and perform like nothing. So that's just, you can't idolize everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
He's possessed.
You can't idolize everybody.
He has demons in him. That's why he would do something so stupid and so demonic like that to kill somebody and then make a song about it. Then you got the 6'7" guy. I'm not trying to get off of that, but that guy, that's a demonic song, and he's an open Satanist. He try to act like he's a Satanist, man. You don't support the devil and wear those different upside down crosses and stuff like that. But hey, I hate to hear that, and I hope that he's charged to the fullest extent, and that family, her family can have peace, because a young daughter. Why is she even over there? He's 14, right?
She's 14 when she passed away.
Why was she even over there? I don't understand that, but he's a celebrity, so that's probably why. But that's a sick man, and they got a special place for them.
Lastly, last topic before we get out of here, ladies and gentlemen, there was a UFO meeting. The globalists called the pastors together. I believe it was 6 pastors, right? That number 6. So 6 pastors they called. One congressman was also on this phone call, and they basically was telling the pastors, hey, prepare your church, like something, it's coming, it's happening. And it's just a lot that they're putting on us at one time. And ladies and gentlemen, be not fearful. Cleave on to the Lord during these times. Yes, there's some demonic things out here. There's AI that have human consciousness as well. The Bible says, as in the days of Noah, so in the last days with the Son of Man be when he comes. So there is a lot of dark things going on. Just take a look and see how dark this world is. And why would they be calling pastors? And I'm sure these are pastors that are part of the club as well, that are part of... It was mega pastors. I believe all 6 of them were mega pastors. So they are being told to go and take this messages back to your church. Go ahead, Des. I see you ready to get out of here. So we'll close that down.
I want to speak on UFO stuff, but all they're trying to do is just prepare you for the rapture so they can have an excuse on why all of these millions of people are missing. That's what they're trying to do. So that's why they're going to bring it. So when they come with the lie, and the Lord going to give strong delusion, so you're going to believe it, that millions of people have disappeared because it's been an alien invasion. And then outside you're going to see the videos that they sent, they put up. You're going to see some UFOs in the sky, which is nothing but Project Bluebeam. If you want to be blind, Bible says in the last days, like I said, knowledge shall be increased. You're going to do your research on Project Bluebeam, then you will know. And you can tell other people that the Bible is real. The aliens, these are nothing but demons. That's all they are. If you talk to any guy that's a true Christian, he had dreams before. I've seen those alien, the bubblehead, big-eyed aliens in dreams. They ain't nothing but demons. That's all they are.
And they're conjuring them up and opening up portals and all type of things and praying to these things. So, ladies and gentlemen, we just thank you all for tuning in to this show. We hope that this show was able to edify you in a way. We hope that it planted a seed and just help break that veil a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. If you are not saved, now will be a perfect time to get saved and to get in the Word of God. And because tomorrow, the next second, the next minute is not promised. Our lives are merely a vapor. We're here today, gone tomorrow. So it's best to do it as soon as possible. Don't wait till tomorrow, for you don't know what
the Lord will have in store for you.
I know it'll be hard to put that drink down, put that weed down, leave that woman alone, leave that man alone, clean your life up.
Stop watching that porn.
Tomorrow will never be enough time to get it right. I'm telling you, tomorrow, you say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. No, you got to do it today.
Yeah, you don't know you got tomorrow for sure. The devil heard it. Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got tomorrow. I'll take your life now.
That's right. That's right.
So you got to try to do it as soon as possible and have your ear open to the words of God. If somebody come try to give you the gospel, better open your ears up, man. Because you don't know why you're here. He's trying to tell you why you're here. There's nothing but a test. Is you going to follow the Lord or you going to follow your flesh? If you walk in the flesh, you will reap corruption. If you walk in the spirit, you will inherit eternal life. So this is the dream of the week. Acts chapter 2, verses 17. It shall come to pass in the last days, says God, that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your young men shall see visions. Your old men shall dream dreams. Peace.
Peace, love, grace, mercy, ladies and gentlemen.
So I had this dream about the rapture. I'm not telling no lies, no nothing. It happened last Saturday night, and I woke up and my mind was completely blown with what I seen because it was so accurate of what they tell in the Bible. So my dream was about the rapture, and I seen God. Like, I don't know why I was there, what I was doing, but I know I was around a whole bunch of people, and I seen God crack the sky open. Like, I seen him crack the sky open, and I seen him in the sky, and I seen all the angels surrounded. I can't even tell how many angels were. It was just a whole lot of them. And you know how they be like, it's no light in heaven because God is the light. He is the star. It was like that. Like, he was like a man. Like, he was in man form, like a regular man form. But he was so bright, like you couldn't see his face or nothing, but you can tell he was in man form and stuff. And so he told all the angels to go down. Like I said, it was a lot of people around me, but he told all the angels to go down and collect these people. They're gonna meet him in the sky. So all the angels came down, and the angels was getting people one by one and all that. You know what I'm saying? And I thought I was gonna go up, the angels gonna come and get me, but no, one of my friends that I knew in the dream, the angel came and got him, and he tried grabbing my hand to go up with him, but I wasn't able to go. So basically, I was left out, and I really wasn't gonna spread this information, but I think God put this in my heart to tell this to you, because it's the end times, it's a spiritual warfare going on. But it was insane and so accurate. Everything was so accurate, and I think I have to spread this message or whatever, and everybody just keep praying in Jesus' name, man. And my bad. And also, when God got all his people to me in the sky, everybody that was up on the ground, they was begging him to let them go with him, go to meet him in the sky with him, but he said no, it was too late. So this is a warning for whoever watching this to change your life over and, do better by God, because I don't want to. In that dream, I was one of the people who was asking God. Everybody fell down to their knees asking God to help them and get them and all that, but it was too late. So I'm telling you, myself, and God told me to tell you that do right by yourself, so you can be able to go meet him in the sky and see his face in peace. Thank you.